My next guest was chairman of the House Intelligence Committee during the summer of 2016 when the conversation with Hillary Clinton that Robby Mook referenced in court today took place. Let's bring in Devin Nunes, now CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group. Good to have you with us today. I mean, you took a tremendous amount of grief throughout this story. For going over to the White House, for giving them a heads up that there were investigations going on and that there was indications that a lot of this was cooked up as opposition research during the course of the campaign. What's your reaction when you hear that Robby Mook says, yeah, you know, we took it to Hillary, and she said, absolutely, even though it's not substantiated, you should get it out there to the press. And Mook said, we just figured it was the press's job to figure out whether or not there was any substance there.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting development because, clearly we know that all of these cats that are out there, they all knew about it. We knew from the very beginning. You mentioned what do we know at the very beginning? Well, we knew that there was no intelligence that showed that the Russians and Trump or Republicans had anything to do with any of this. So why is this interesting today? It's the fact that Mook would turn over his former boss as the campaign manager, who clearly had to have authorized Fusion GPS, Sussman, Perkins Coie law firm, and then sold it out to the media. So I think this is an interesting revelation. Of course, we knew that Hillary Clinton and the whole cabal knew about it, but the fact that he would give up that evidence, direct evidence, almost unprompted from what I'm hearing and seeing outside of the courtroom.
So here's one tweet from Hillary Clinton. It's time for Trump to answer serious questions about his ties to Russia. 4 things you need to know about the Trump Organization's secret server to communicate with Russia's Alpha Bank. And then it goes on to sort of delineate what she sees as, very suspicious behavior here. What strikes me is that, Robby Mook and Hillary Clinton put out, computer scientists have uncovered that there is a link between the Trump server and Alpha Bank, right? And then you go back to this tech executive number 1 who says that he was hired to access information that he had access to in order to find a narrative that would be negative. So the computer scientists that they're talking about, they act like, they're just sort of amazing random researchers who uncovered something, and yet it appears that they were directed by Oates and by Fusion.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to the whole thing of how they hired Christopher Steele. And then don't forget, he was a former MI6 guy. He was the guy that they wanted. And then you take secondarily that Danchenko, the Russian, who wasn't really Russian, he was a guy that formerly worked at Brookings, lived in Washington, D.C. This was similar. So this kind of came after the fact. This information went into the Steele dossier. And so what they did there at the end, right in late October, it was kind of their last gasp effort to do an October surprise. Now what comes after that is, I think, more interesting because when these guys go into the CIA and other intelligence agencies, it's after Donald Trump won. And clearly now they have went from kind of the dirty tricks, trying to cover for Hillary Clinton's, destroying of her servers. They then move into this trying to get the FBI to further their investigation and publicize their investigation that led to Mueller, that led to this whole mess, which is a very dark chapter of American history, especially for the dirty cops at the FBI and DOJ that knew about this.